All right, I'm recording.
My recording's going now.
Mine is going too. I'm gonna 3, 2, 1 us.
Yeah, three, two, one
Three,
us.
3, 2, 1.
Peace be with you.
Hello, and welcome to episode 23 of Tran Girlismo. I am your host, Victoria Scott. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm here with my co-host.
My name is Jordan Hofstetter. My pronouns are she and her. Do you remember when they issued patch notes for church within our lifetimes?
Vatican II? That wasn't
No,
in my
no, 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 no,
lifetime.
no. They changed Peace be with you to instead of
And also with you.
it's also with
Or
your
was it-
spirit now.
Oh, yeah,
That is the
okay.
thing where I'm just like, fuck you. Why do we? You don't have to style on it. It's putting a hat on a fucking hat. It's already
See, I'm
Anglican.
Orthodox, or I was raised Orthodox. Greek. I should clarify here. So Orthodox Christianity, not Orthodox Judaism. I don't know anything about that. And they refuse to change that shit.
Good.
They will be. I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well,
I
to be fair, I'm Lutheran, which we're the only Protestants that are real. Everything else is mental illness. I'm sorry. You break away from the Catholic Church once. You don't gotta keep doing it. Come on. What the fuck's wrong with all of you? Baptists? Fuck out of here. What's that? Who gives a shit? So like Lutheranism is basically just mostly Catholicism with just like, when you have like, when you've got to like ferment stuff, how sometimes like, did you ever make kombucha or like a sourdough starter or anything?
I dated somebody who did.
Gotcha. Every now and then with kombucha, you gotta like get a layer of like slough off the top. That's what like Lutherans did with the concepts of Catholicism, where we're like, there's a lot of, or like, it's not a complete teardown. You just gutted the house basically just to like beams and foundation, and you're like, there's a lot of good meat here, but like let's make it less gay. That was a lot of it. That was a lot of subtext of leaving Catholicism, right? It was Catholicism, just, again, God rest his soul, but Pope Francis being surrounded by dudes, wine, art, gold, robes, and being like, is it gay in here? Is it a little faggy in here?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, Orthodoxy just predates the schism. I mean, like, that's what the schism was kind of about for, Catholicism.
did you see our hot new schism?
Oh, yeah, anti-pope, J.D. Vance.
Well, not yet. Coming soon.
But coming.
Probably. Oh, God.
I can't wait for the American anti-pope and American pope.
I just think
American Century of Humiliation in full swing.
I'm gonna actually like go out to the called out shapes place because I need to like erase an image in my mind. But like, I just pictured the level of tacky the American Pope vestments would be for JD Vance.
It would be like a plate carrier with gold fringe.
Yeah, like absolutely. You're looking like a fucked up Destiny warlock, but like the chintziest yellow gold you've ever seen.
Speaking of warlocks. I mean, it's gaming, that's kind of like...
Oh, okay, alright, I see what I was about to say. I was like, are you talking about our editor saving us from prison by as if, like, she is doing the arcane arts?
No, although she will need to do that this episode, probably.
Hey, Alex, sorry, buddy. Yeah, this might get... The workload might get tough. You want an extra $25 for this one? You let me know if you want that extra after this one.
I'm in a bad mood because I live in the American Century of Humiliation. But this one is the thing that I actually did today, so Jordan and I both exposed ourselves to dangerous amounts of ideology to make this episode. Instead of Jordan doing like a funny light thing to sort of offset my negative, dark, heavy mood, we both decided to go all out because this week was full of shit that was just bleak. I actually took the more fun one, I think. So I went off and did some research on the new, I'm calling it the Aston Martin Chudnought.
The Chudnought. This is like breaking. This was basically like, thank
it came
God.
out today as we recorded. Yeah,
I was like, thank God I saw this right. It was one of those things where like we both had like our notes pretty much done. I was once again trying to make a thing about. I could speed run it. Dog, Maserati doesn't make any sense on Earth. They have become. They were already like Ferrari's Wario. But now they are so like, I don't know, it's like they still exist because it's a prestige name and you gotta keep Maserati going if you own Maserati. But like, dog, that new Gran Turismo came out in 2023. I just assumed it was the old one still. Like, they announced a whole other car that was supposed to take that place, but they're like, nah, just keep making the fucking Gran Turismo. We don't have to put money into this. Anyway, they had a new GT4 car. The Goodwood Festival of Speed was last week. And that's how I know that Aston Martin is actually like lightly embarrassed to tell like a lot of their mainstream customers, aka old rich fops. They're really scared to show shit like this to them.
Yeah, because
then they know it'll damage the brand. Because this was not at Festival of Speed when like
it's
the Red Bull hypercar was there. There's a new Maserati GT4 car. The new McLaren WEC car made its debut by going up the hill. Like, chill weekend. No Chudnought.
They have some. Okay, so the Chudnought. I just need to describe what it is. It's the Aston Martin Dreadnought. Which is a straight to the shapes place. Yeah, that's about right. It is a 2-door, massive off-road bulletproof SUV that exists in real life. I want to call that out. They did actually build a full-scale model of it. But it is going to be one of the hero vehicles, if not the hero vehicle, of the new Call of Duty Yellow Peril.
Yeah, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, they finally got up to 4, because I was really thinking that they've done... So, if you're about 30 years old, you might be thinking, oh, are they finally making a new Modern Warfare? And I go, no. Hey, remember how they did Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3 from, like, 2007 to 2009, 10? Well, they just did that again. And like I played them, I don't know. The Chud shooter, left trigger, right trigger still has some appeal in my brain space, but like they're bad games. They're bad games with ugly politics. They're finally making a 4th one, or rather, they're making a 4th one in this new line. And the bad guys are Koreans now.
Yeah, it takes place in a reheated Korean War. Where you fight in the DMZ alongside New York City and Mumbai and I think other places, but that's what I read in the press release that I remember 2 hours ago. Because I don't care. And
also, they made the number 4 look like either a like a kanji. They made the 4 racist to tell you it's in Korea. Like, I don't know. It looks like the 4 on a racist Houston area Chinese restaurant menu. It's really bad.
It is crazy. Yeah, and nobody
they got Aston Martin to make a Chud car for it.
So you can touch the physical object real car, but as far as I can tell, that is just a model that they have at a game convention. But Aston Martin says that it has ostensibly a carbon fiber chassis and ostensibly a V12 under the hood. But the press release video is just a bunch of like 2017 electronic music dubbed over a static car model, absolutely with an epileptic, seizure-inducing amount of strobes and Dutch angles. So I don't think the V12 is actually... I don't think they were going to pull... Again, this is like... this is shit that you don't really want to spend time on, even if you're a solvent automaker who doesn't have better shit to do. Like, they don't have V12s to spare. This is not a company that is doing well.
No, they're all in cars. They've got to go to customers.
Yeah. I would like to read, though, if it's okay with you, from the Call of Duty press release about this vehicle, which, again, is a two-door SUV that has big chud tire. It looks like a Halo Warthog with an Aston Martin.
It looks like a Halo Warthog if the Warthog wasn't like... It looks like the Halo Warthog is cool because it is a cartoon vehicle. I briefly invoked the 80s G.I. Joe franchise before we started recording. And the Warthog, at least, is in that lineage of, like, that is an action figure car.
Yes.
This has too much tactical 2026 real in it. So, like, when you see it and you go through it, and the fact that it's a branding exercise. Like,
yeah,
the Warthog's not the Mercedes AMG G-Class Warthog, you know? At least not in my memory.
No.
So, like, when they made a real Warthog for the Halo movie, that kind of didn't happen, and then they made those ads, like, I think that is a, that was cool in a way where I just see this and I go, oh my god, they made an Aston Martin to run over protesters. they made an Aston Martin to run over Stop Oil protesters in.
This also, I mean, if you told me that this was, and I will say this, right? Like, and this is where I hate to give them any credit because it does actually kind of look like an Aston Martin. It does actually carry forward a lot of the like styling cues that are on like the Valhalla and the Vulcan and the even there's like a little bit of like DB12 shit. And what was the car I'm thinking of? The muscle car looking one.
Yeah, it was This is also how you tell it's not real, is that they didn't use a V name for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in any case, it does actually look kind of potentially like it could be real, which I think is also part of why it is so confusing that they would make it.
Yeah.
Other than like everything has to be chud now. I should just read from the press release because I really want to put this in
yeah,
there.
no, take it away. I'm trying to figure out what Aston, the Velour or the Valiant is what it looks like. The real 70s. It looks like that like 70s throwback to that like V8 vintage.
If you told me that it was like if it had 4 doors instead of 2 and you told me it was like a Mansory kit for a DBX or something, I'd be like ambitious, but okay, I believe it. It looks like do you remember when all those journalists got the Revzani Godzilla or whatever, the fucking
god, yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the actual name of the truck is, but the enormous armored truck, and that I think we've talked about it before on the show. It feels exactly like that, except they actually put the brand on it. Anyway, okay,
yes.
Press release. Quote, the Dreadnought rolls with an armored exterior and military-grade armor plating. This isn't a joyride SUV that folds under the first burst of fire. It's a mobile fortress, end quote, which is the most LLM-generated writing I've heard in a hot minute. I feel kind of dirty reading it out loud.
It's not blank, it's why, yeah. It's, God, also, like, you're the company that does the James Bond car, which are famously usually bulletproof without needing to look like I don't know, Alex Jones's last car. Like I just it's such a weird. There are plenty of car makers where if they say they're Call of Duty in the original Modern Warfare era, there was a real Call of Duty edition Jeep Wrangler that you could buy at dealerships.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes.
That's brand synergy. Why the fuck is it an Aston Martin, dog? Who in Aston? Does Lance Stroll play a lot of Call of Duty? And he was like, Dad, if the F1 team's gonna be bad, we should do something with Call of Duty. Dad. And like, I guess he went like, all right, I'm gonna kill Adrian Newey and then myself if this fucking F1 car doesn't start working next week. But I guess I could make the Chud Call of Duty fans of the world
I
unite.
mean, I think it's so here's my kind of like take on this whole thing, which is that older buyers, the ones that are actually currently buying cars and that go to Goodwood Festival of Speed, enjoy the Bond image of being I mean, it's James Bond as a fictional character, so I don't have to worry about slandering him. Of being a, like, suave rapist, right? Like, it is a low-key kind of, like, consent is not a thing you've ever needed to worry about because you were just too cool to have that word mentioned, right? Like, it is a power fantasy about being rich and powerful in a way that means you can get away with whatever you want, but that still adheres to kind of like an old money sort of style and aesthetic. And this is for a younger audience that I think advertisers, car companies, whatever, are increasingly realizing is just kind of aiming for the Columbine shooter sort of aesthetic of sorry to do that as soon as you took a sip.
That was almost really bad. Oh my god. I was just like, you're going off on a really good point, and I could just kind of percolate on it, and then I took a sip right as you said the Columbine word, because that's not where, I'm gonna be honest, not where I thought you'd be with this, which is, again, what I'm saying to Aston Martin right now. Why are you doing this? I didn't think we were going here.
Well, but this is what I think the perception is, that like the youthful, this is the Andrew Tate version of wealth, right? Like, this is, if James Bond is an older generation of like untouchable, do whatever you want kind of power, you know, Andrew Tate, pick whatever other, like, Conor McGregor, pick whatever like buff male influencer kind of chud who partners with sports gambling firms and has been shown to have an incredibly sketchy track record with consent. Pick one of those guys, and that's like a very libidinal, obvious, in-your-face kind of machismo. And so it's like, you have to continue selling your, you know, the Valhalla to your old buyers who have money, but you also have to, the people who are currently pre-ordering, do you remember the gamer rolls?
The gamer rolls.
So, before we launched this podcast, on this very Patreon, I did in the homage of
the gamer Rolls Royce. Guide. Yes. Sorry.
Yes.
I was picturing like dinner rolls, like bread,
no.
And I was just like, oh, is this some like bachelor chow slop that I missed because I tried to pay as little attention to gaming as I can get away with?
But like this kind of like tasteless new money that clearly has different aesthetics. You have to appeal to it in some way, and so why not put, like, the Chud SUV in their game? Because this is kind of the aspiration now. This is, like, and I don't know if this is true or not. I don't think, like, I am not all, like, a doomer about the next generation's politics. I think, like, for one, it's early. For two, like, I think that there are a lot of young people I know who are, you know, either just reaching voting age or have just reached it or whatever, who have impeccable politics and work their ass off to try to make a better world, just like all of us who are millennials. So this isn't like a generational panic type deal I'm trying to foment here. I'm just saying that I think that there is a decided difference if you are looking at the most venal, wealthy, spoiled members of any generation. I think that they are fetishizing different aesthetics, and I think this is an appeal to those. It's you know, in the same way that like the Hummer was sort of like an early attempt at this, but it didn't quite. I think that like the increasing move towards SUVs and toward this sort of like this Cybertruckification of everything,
exactly,
is like this makes a kind of sense if you are a marketer. I don't think that it will actually move the needle.
Oh,
because if I'm imagining like a 16-year-old kid now, they probably still have like a Vantage or a 911 or whatever on their bedroom wall, same as I did. You know what I mean? Like, it's perhaps the class mobility makes it seem more feudal, but like it's still there. It's still the same car.
You can still go buy an 06 Vantage for $35,000. So you know what? That's, you know, if Lotus leases and Exiges have finally become uncoupled from they're all $30,000. I feel like those early Vantages, that's the new. Those are always about $35,000 car, and like we should keep it that way.
The other thing that I do want to mention here, if that's okay, is the obviously Call of Duty exists as a consent manufacturing project. in addition to being a
1,000%.
video
Yes,
game.
absolutely.
Like, it's meant to make war cool, glamorous, and make it so that people do not raise the kind of ethical questions that killing civilians or whatever would bring with them, because it has been shown that it is a necessary decision that hard men, while making decisions while hard, have to make. But I loved this from the press release, which is that the Chudnought features adaptive combat zone intelligence systems, which to me sounds like you can ask Claude to blow up an elementary school for tactical reasons.
Yeah.
The kind of smart warfighting of the future that means that we can now add even more, even less culpability to the people who blow up schools or hospitals, children. Really bleak shit.
Yeah.
I have one more chunk from the press release, I guess, because I think it's probably going to make us both want to kill ourselves.
For sure. Let me just... I also think that, like, Call of Duty's views on what adaptive combat zone intelligence is so much grimmer than, like... Again, if I'm just contrasting this back to my favorite Chud franchise, Halo... Cortana's just a woman. That she's just a person. That's your adaptive AI that's just a human woman. And sure, her body's like, there's politics in that as well. But like,
yeah, I'm so pretty sure I've seen a lot of pornography.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They've been making Cortana pornography since the moment Cortana existed. And I feel so bad to sweet Jen Taylor, who has definitely seen all of that shit because she was very active on Twitter. Anyways, Tell me about it. This is also, it's just these weird gasps of like hard British masculinity are so much more sinister in a way, because I feel like they just if there's a British man who craves this thing, he wants to like reinstate the Raj, you know what I mean? Like
I'm so glad you bring that
India
up.
Back. I know.
I'm so glad you bring this up. Thank you. I'm going to quote directly from the press release now. Quote, "The Dreadnought name naturally conjures up images of military might. Aside from its obvious dictionary definition, fear nothing, it also recalls the famous early 20th century British warship, H.M.S. Dreadnought, which was so revolutionary in terms of her armament and propulsion that she coined an entirely new class of warship, defining global naval military ambition in the early 1900s.
What were they doing in the early 1900s? Would you like to say it very loud into the microphone, Aston Martin?
Now, I just want to check something. This was a battleship that was launched in 1906.
They're about to be protagonists of World War I, which is famously a value-neutral time.
Yeah. The question that I have here, because I don't know this, it's two steam turbines, but what fuel did it use? Because there's a pretty good chance. I know that a big reason that Iran is a perennial favorite for fucking with by the West is because of who was then an admiral, Winston Churchill, who decided to basically pillage Iran, which was then Persia, for all of its oil fields so that they could run the navy more efficiently. Like, British petroleum came from Winston Churchill deciding to fuck over a country that now has 80 million people in it. And it had a lot at the time. I don't know how many exactly. But I do, if you are nostalgic for that period, I do not want to be left in a room alone with you.
No, you're going to try to measure my skull. I know it. I can feel it.
This is like, it's the same thing when there are Americans, like whenever any American is talking to you about, like, damn, I sure miss Teddy Roosevelt. Alarm klaxons. Get the fuck out.
Cover
Run.
your drink.
Do not.
Cover your drink.
That is a 3-alarm, 5-alarm, 10-alarm fire. Get the fuck out of there. Because it's like, it's a specific kind, and like this obviously makes more sense for British people because this was the only time that the British were really powerful in the modern era in which war could be considered, I don't know, I mean, I guess people fetishize war forever. That's just kind of like what people do. But like with modern military hardware in some context where there were like big engineering projects to be proud of.
Yeah, it's like this, and then like you get to fetishize how that you were at the wane of your powers during World War II, and that's why like, you know, you were both incredibly strong to survive the Blitz or the Battle of Britain, but also like you're going to just never stop living like those Germans are still overhead.
It's a declining empire after that, right? And then the American Empire is ascendant, and so it's like, you know, American Empire obviously fetishizes like the 50s, which don't ask us what we were doing in the 50s. Don't ever ask a white person how the 50s were for a black person, for example. But and that also freaks me out, and I think it's bad. But I think that there is just like because I don't know. I don't fucking know. It's not coming home, so like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, get fucked.
That's the big thing. It's not coming home.
If we can't win, no one wins.
Sorry. I'm sorry to the friend of the show, November Kelly, but it is not coming home.
Let me just take a big sip of coffee and read about what's our final. It's Argentina, Spain.
Spain, yeah.
Ooh, go España. I think.
Hey, they're the only country in Europe with any kind of meaningful pro-Palestine stance.
That's true. All right, well, let's give it to Spain, and then let's not read about Argentina.
Don't look at the past. Yeah.
Why is that guy named Hans and you're from Argentina? It could mean nothing. All
right, I'm going to go back to the press release.
Yes, please.
Because we're talking about British masculinity. Quote, exquisite design details emphasize the Dreadnought's high luxury heritage, from the herringbone weave of the exterior carbon fiber to the Oxford tan leather dashboard and door panel details and the metallic gold gear lever. These are uniquely contrasted in this digital creation with features rarely found in an Aston Martin, like military-grade armor plating.
I'm gonna just... I'm not gonna scream again, but I am just screaming.
Again, the ideal future is watching other people die in the climate catastrophes from the comfort of your leather-swaddled, armored SUV that you continue to drive to work every day without... Like, God, I'm going to give all of you another reading assignment on this podcast. My friend Aster Olson wrote a novella called Performance Review that you can get online for free now. I think she sold out all the printed versions. But it's about gender, obviously. But it takes place in like this very realistic and grim vision of like 2030s Florida that feels so much like the kind of world that it's not even, I don't even know if it's necessarily like an absolute desire that we end up there from fascists, but it is sort of a concession that that's what's going to happen. Like they don't even really want a better world. They're just like, well, this is where it's going, so we might as well be the ones inside the Dreadnought.
Yeah. Our next topic is also going to be one that loudly proclaims to not be political, but in the adherence of non-politics, everything, of course, is extra political when you say, no, but I'm not doing this for political reasons, though.
I mean,
Jacob Geller has some really incredible videos about what Call of Duty as a franchise actually believes in, which is almost nothing, and also some really bad things at the same time. For my views on Call of Duty as a franchise, I would also, I really liked, Dan Folding Ideas did a video about how Call of Duty Ghosts is the fucking worst video game of all time.
I was going to also reference that because I love Folding Ideas. That is a really good video.
And it just, do I think this is a signal of where Aston Martin is moving? No. Do I still really like Aston Martin? Are they my favorite of like the insane luxury brands? Yeah, probably. Do I think this is neat? No. Do I think something like this could have been neat if it wasn't so chudded out? Yeah, kind of. But, like,
yeah.
I am in favor of these cars designed for video games. The Vision Gran Turismo series of concepts is so cool. And anytime
McLaren made one.
Bugatti made the Bugatti Vision GT. Obviously, they didn't go to fucking Le Mans with it or whatever, but like,
yeah,
they've made some of these cars, or they're like
so cool.
Concepts of things that should have happened or could have happened. Like, the Ferrari Vision GT from a couple years ago was a preview of the F80. Like,
yeah,
they are so, that program's so cool. And of course, leave it to Call of Duty, a brand which, again, I don't associate with cars at all, except for that Jeep from however many years ago. I think about Ramirez Defend the Burger Town as maybe the most apt political, like, you want to talk about like what a realistic invasion of Washington D.C. and Virginia looks like? It is Keith David as your drill sergeant going, Ramirez, you gotta defend the fucking Burger Town. And we're Oscar Mike on the way to the Burger Town. And that is where you do a heroic stand against you kill 45 Russians in the Burger Town. And then you're like, we did it. We saved the Burger Town. As there's gore everywhere. Russian dudes dead. And that's what Call of Duty believes in. And for them to go, imagine a Burger Town, but also imagine the H.M.S. Dreadnought as an Aston Martin that is also here to be driven around the DMZ of Korea, but there's no politics. This game is going to take place in a Korean War, non-political.
You know what it is? You know what it is? I think it's like the way that this is not just Call of Duty either. This is like every piece of American media produced in the past 70 years. Every parts of the world where America has murdered millions are set pieces. And that's why they don't think of it as political, right? Is because, like, the DMZ between North Korea and South Korea is not a real place in which millions of people died. It is a set piece to us because the people who live there aren't even worth considering as, like, human beings fully. And so it's like, why? Well, of course, like, there was a war there, and so, like, it was just a set piece that we're using now, and that's why how people are able to just sand the ridges out of their brains until it's a fucking smooth orb, bowl it down the alley, full strike. I love my apolitical Call of Duty games.
I love my apolitical Call of Duty games.
God, I'm, like, dizzy. I laughed so hard.
Sorry, I watched Death by Lightning the other day with Stella, which is a 4-part miniseries about the political rise and then murder of James A. Garfield, friend of the pod for Well, There's Your Problem. And I just think, I'm like, we should just elect people who don't want to be president. Sorry, that's just a sidebar of a vision, because I don't want to keep talking about this Aston Martin because I love Aston Martin still, and I want them to give us cars eventually. I want them to give us press cars, but also, like, and they won't give us a press car. That's a dare. Please. We'd be so good. But, like, collaboration culture has been mostly a nightmare for everything.
Yeah.
Aston Martin X Call of Duty was not a thing that ever needed to happen, but it's here, and this is what it is. And of course it was going to be like this. Do I think they're ever going to sell this as anything other than, like, they're never going to make this work. They don't have the money to make this right now, I don't think either. Granted, the weird half F1 car, half Le Mans prototype that they're building for one rich guy was spotted testing again.
I mean, yeah, but I'm sure there's somebody out there, if they gave them enough money to build this, they would probably make it for them, but, like...
And then we just never want to meet that. Anyways, Victoria, would you like to talk about the least political event of all time?
I would love that. I am assuming it's something like a fun race for the whole family.
Yeah, it's something like that. I titled this, oh my god, oh no... Donald Trump did a press conference for the Freedom 250 Grand Prix, which is coming up.
I know. Fast. I need the book to I need to book flights.
Yeah, we need to figure out if we're splitting an Airbnb and other offline things.
Oh my god, I can't believe that I have to go to Washington.
We have ended our way into doing this.
The thing is like, it was kind of funny for a while because I was like, well,
it's not going to happen. It wasn't going to be real.
I didn't think they were actually going to hold it, and then they did do the 250th celebration almost with several mass casualty incidents. Like, I did see Laura Jadid's thread on that, and it's like crowd crush, lightning strike, fireworks damage, airplane flyovers, unqualified airplane flyovers. Like, they had it all. I don't know how that was not a mass fatality incident. And so it's like, cool, I have to go to a hastily designed IndyCar track in the middle of Washington, D.C. with almost certainly no cooling stations or water in August. This is going to be great.
How much do you know about the 1955 Le Mans disaster?
I know a lot.
I can't wait for the fucking Black Rifle coffee liveried IndyCar to careen through the barricade on top of us.
And then even if we somehow survive the race, it's still like, it's basically under permanent federal occupation now. Like, the National Guard is never going away. They're just going to be there forever. Which means we have to deal with like chuds sneering at us, and I don't like that. I was trying to think of something I could say. The sandwich thing is still okay, right? Like, the guy didn't even get indicted.
No, they couldn't even make it stick. No, yeah, that's fine. That's Gucci.
Just like the sandwich, it just bounced off.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's gonna make me enter the Subway thought zone. There we go. I could say that.
Name of this episode, the Subway thought zone. Taking over. Complete sidebar.
Your controls.
We'll get back to it. I actually need to veer this into a mountaintop real quick. I have a vision to combat the decline of queer third spaces. And most Subway franchises are empty all the time. If you don't have a queer bar, the old adage was just, you take a bunch of your friends, pick a night, go there regularly, you will make it a queer bar. My friends did this with Barflies in Austin. I have heard it happened here in Pittsburgh. There are a bunch of bars where it's like, hey, if the vibe isn't like awful, if there's a quiet night, you could just go take it over and enforce it being a queer bar, at least on that night. Subway Thought Zone, THOT. You and a bunch of your friends could just make your local Subway the new cool spot.
See, the problem with that, right, is that Subway is specifically my ideating food. Like, I only have a Subway sandwich if I have thought about ways to do it more than 5 times in the past 48 hours.
Okay.
Because it's like,
not a Quiznos?
Especially living...
Or can you just not
we don't have Quiznos here.
Okay,
no,
yeah.
We don't have Quiznos here. It's just like, Subway is such a, like, nothing feels worse than eating a Subway sub.
No, it's one
when it's like $12. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's so expensive too. It's like, oh, you want your fucking sweet onion teriyaki? Cool. Here's chicken that is, you cannot find where it came off of a bird. Here is a teriyaki sauce that is basically just honey, and like it's $45. The cookie is.
We baked you a cake and sliced it in half to put a bunch of like unnaturally red or the palest tomatoes you've ever seen in your life in there, and now you might get instant diarrhea. If you like explosive diarrhea.
Remember? I had a moment of tummy bad the other day, and I did
like,
I did look at myself in the mirror and was just like, if this is it, 1, I'm gonna die. 2, this will be tremendous content for the podcast of me being like, well, I got and then I was just, we always talk about explosive diarrhea, but like implosive diarrhea would be far more concerning, IMO. And then I think my friend pointed out that would just be sepsis, I think. It's just what sepsis is, just... Speaking of the sepsis at the heart of our country, we're about a month and change out from the race that I put has been a humble through line of our here show.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think this thing's real. I think it's gonna happen, and that's maybe
God
a bummer.
damn it.
So we should get travel plans. So after last week, I gazed into the maw that was Truth Social. I have debased myself yet again for this podcast in that I watched a 16-minute press conference in front of the White House on the Fox News YouTube channel. And now I need to hit every button I can do. Because, of course, I forgot to do it on, like, logged out or anything. So now I have to, like, furiously click, like, please do not recommend me things based on this. I'm not... Because I already reopened YouTube to check something, and my front page has, like, AI, like, drinking ads now. And that's new. Yeah, on what was this past Monday, because listeners, a bunch of you did immediately reach out to us when this was happening. It was like, well, you're going to talk about it on the show. I'm going to be honest. I waited until today to watch it because I was sure that if I had done it the day it was happening, it would have driven me to a level of madness that would have maybe ended with a grippy sock vacation. Because I am staring at going to Washington, D.C. in August to go watch this happen. So on Monday, Alex Palou, Felix Rosenquist, and David Malukas all donned their race suits and joined Roger Penske, Bud Deckner, Sean Duffy, the president of GM, who's the president, not CEO, because Mary could not be fucked to make it to this, and a bunch of other officials, including I forgot the mayor of DC is named Bowser. Mayor Bowser was there. They all joined together to introduce this great American race. Trump started off the press conference with the funniest introduction I've ever heard a man who's allegedly friends with another man give, which is, he said that he gave Roger the Presidential Medal of Freedom several years ago after he won his 17th Indy 500. And then Trump said he wasn't supposed to keep winning after that. We really thought you were done, but keep going. Which is, I can't tell if that's old man for I thought you'd be dead by now, or I thought you would have been stopped from winning the 500 after, you bought the series and the racetrack. I don't know what, there's a lot of levels you could read into that. Grandpa then remarked about the UFC fight, saying it was the highest rated fight of all time, which it very much wasn't. That is still like Mayweather-Pacquiao from a bunch of years ago. I checked.
By like a huge margin,
yeah,
right?
That was watched by millions and millions of people, not include, and that's just like pay-per-view buys. So,
Yeah.
He says that this race will be the same, but for motorsports, which, no.
The 500 is like,
yeah,
this is what drives me fucking insane, is that like the 500 is right there. It has a huge long history. It is one of the greatest events like held in the world. Genuinely, I would die on that hill. The Indy 500 is one of the greatest things humanity puts together. It's one of the only good things about America. Like, just full stop.
It is one of our great spectacles.
We have the Great American Race right there, and it's like, no, we got to make a better one with the National Guard holding machine guns next to it, because the reflecting pool isn't even going to have water in it.
No, it's going to...
It's
the
empty!
Avanti guy did it.
It's empty!
It's empty. Yeah, and then the press conference is just, one, he looks like shit. I'm not going to go on the whole, like, this is a man with dementia, but, like, hey, that's a man who is not the same guy he was last time he was president. Like, by far. Like, just not, like...
Yeah.
And I really thought it would have been 16 minutes of him talking by himself up there. No, it's really like 8 solid minutes of Trump, and then he has to start handing it off to other people because, like, Grandpa can channel it together for a while, and unfortunately, he is still one of the funniest people ever born. Like, it brings me no pleasure to say this. Trump keeps saying that the drivers are about to do something entirely courageous, and he will not stop talking about how much he doesn't want to do what he does, which is very like New Yorker. He's not like a car, like he doesn't like driving. He's just like 200 miles an hour, inches away from other people's cars. I'm not doing that. I'm just like, yeah, sure, man. Yeah, no one said you could. He does make a joke. It's like, they could teach me, but I don't think I'd want to do it. And now I'm like, what would happen to his body going 250 miles an hour? Like, we won't let Mario Andretti drive the pace car anymore. But, he also keeps weirdly touching Alex Pillow's shoulder. Alex Pillow, who is wearing his OpenAI race suit, God. Once again, just kind of hitting the nail on the head of what the state's project is here. Yeah, Trump just keeps going through people. He introduces Penske. He introduces the drivers. He introduces the president of General Motors, and in doing so, he calls General Motors General Electric, and then shouts out that GM wants to start making weapons, which I think is just like a neat encapsulation of where his mind's truly at. Speaking of, he later in the speech, he completely just sidebars into talking about the great military successes in Venezuela and Iran. And
oh my God.
He like can't not do it. It's like it's like a Migos album and you're just hearing a guy yelling like, yeah, in the back, where it's just like but it's like Donald Trump's dropping an ad lib on his own speech, which is just, it's the System of a Down song. Talking about like the arrest rates and for like the imprisonment rates, but like he's doing it to himself about his own things. It's a really, he can't not say something when it comes into his mind, which is really great. Which also led to the great line: the drivers will be going down the National Mall at speeds where, well, if they did it during regular hours, I think they would go to jail for the rest of their lives. Which again, just very funny. He's a very funny man. It sucks. But yeah, he then proceeds to make fun of the head of IndyCar and Fox Sports and General Motors and everyone for letting this be a free event. And he goes, they could have charged so much fucking money to go to this thing, but like, I bet they're all regretting that they didn't. And I'm just like, man,
we're going to be the only people there.
I actually think this is going to be the only thing that is a success. I think
really?
This is going to be unfortunate. Well, because it's not IndyCar is doing all of it. Because IndyCar, apparently, if I am seeing the cards in all of this, I think IndyCar was trying to do this with the Biden administration. At the very least, that or this was one of the greatest misspeaks of all time. Is that an air purifier?
Yeah, because it's like...
Because it's really smoky and gross outside? That's smart.
Hi, Stella.
Stella's here. She's gone again. She bought an air purifier, because again, it looks like God smoked a cigarette into the hot car of...
Close the window!
Yeah, no. It really it's like God like is like vaping on us at like a carrier. It's like yeah, we're being hotboxed by Canada right now. He talks about how well the UFC event went. He talks about how well the July 4th went.
Which
like he was like, they told everyone to go home, and I went and I'm like, okay, all right. And he's like, I would have given that speech at 2 a.m. if I had to, and I'm just like, oh yeah, because you're disconnected from time because you're an old man with dementia. Yeah, of course, bud. Yeah. Yeah. He then that's when he does the shout out to the Iran war. there were 80 meetings in 90 days to get this organized.
Yeah.
Which, again,
they mentioned that a while back, and it's like probably 79 of those meetings where IndyCar being like, can we do this? And rational-minded people who are like apolitical, or like not apolitical, but like they don't change by administration, right? We're like, no, that's against the law. You can't do it. And then there was an 80th meeting where they had fired all those guys after Doge came through.
Well, that and the executive order. Apparently, they were treating the executive order to do the race like it was the magic wand that made everything happen.
Because, you mean like with gender-affirming care?
Speaking of which,
where every hospital in the nation...
If you have a local hospital that stops seeing trans kids, you have to start hounding them now, because the withdrawal of Medicare and Medicaid funds from those hospitals, if they kept doing those care, that's the administration dropped it. You press these people. There is no reason they should not have complied in advance, but the very least is you can give them hell now. Top gear, top tip. Fuck them. Fuck those people. Make their lives hell.
Yeah. Hospital administrators are cops is my only note.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's why nurses and cops are the great backbone, air quotes, of this nation.
Nurses, I feel I'm cool with. I like nurses. I'm the only person I know who, like, despite having had the most fucked up experiences with the medical system of anyone I know, I'm still like, nurses are mostly cool. Hospital administrators, though, those are just cops.
For sure. We've never done this well as a country, apparently. The 80 meetings in 90 days is, like, genuinely a little impressive, but, like, I don't know. He said that they did a great air show for July 4th. We've never seen planes before at this level. In the sky? Don't know what that means. Like, that's where they should be, Donald. This is where I can tell that Grandpa, if he is a man who is channeling his former self at times, this is when former self goes off to play a couple rounds of golf in his mind palace, because he talks about planes never being at that level before. And then he said that race car drivers are born with a special ability to depress the pedal all the way. Like, that's I kind of see what he's saying about, like, what makes a racer special, but it is filtered through his own personal dementia and insanity as a former New Yorker, where it's just like, no, they're the only ones who could put the pedal all the way to the ground.
Sometimes I drive cars around, and I have other trans women in them, and you would think that the ability to push the pedal all the way to the floor is something special that nobody could do. Because the response that always elicits is like, ooh, Vicki, you're so, like, bold and aggressive when you're driving. I'm like, no, I'm trying to merge to highway speed. You see how there's an on-ramp here? And I want to be doing the speed limit when I get up on there, so I can just move over. You don't need to be doing 30 miles an hour slower when you get onto the freeway. This is my top gear top tip for the day, is you should reach the speed of the freeway by the time the ramp ends. So when you move over to merge, you just have to find an opening, and you don't have to figure out if the person behind you is going to have to slow down or ram into the back of your car, or if you're going to jam up traffic for 6 miles behind you. Just, the pedal goes all the way down. It's okay. Like, the engine is designed to do that. Actually,
you don't even have to keep, and that's not saying that, like, keep it on. You could modulate the pedal at any time.
Yeah, it's not a binary switch. Yeah. Just throwing that out there.
Also, you can keep the pedal in one spot to go a consistent speed, and you don't need to, like, take your foot off, put it back on. Take your foot off, put it back on. That's not how driving works. Vicki, I was thinking about when we fully made it as a podcast and we get our vanity podcast book deal. I was trying to think of what that book would look like. And I actually think that it is, like, the gay girl's guide to how to drive is, like, what
and maintain your
drive
car,
and maintain your car. It's like gonna be like Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, except, like, the first chapters are like, actually, you should just be a person. But also, like, driving's not hard. The more you treat it like it's this hard, impossible thing, the more you scare yourself. And gay people are doing themselves a disservice through the learned helplessness of needing other people to drive them. Anyways, what's up? Sorry, that's my soapbox.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? There's half the... I mean, and again, the thing is, like, if you don't feel comfortable operating a vehicle, I hope that you, like... You should... If you have to operate a vehicle and you are uncomfortable with it, you should gain comfort with it, because it's a dangerous thing, and you should be good at it so you don't hurt anybody, including yourself. And if you aren't comfortable with operating a vehicle and you don't need to, that's fine.
Also good. Yeah.
We love transit. I
Yeah.
mean, I absolutely fucking love taking the one line, so I can go out and drink a bunch, and then I take the train home, and I don't have to worry about anything at all. It's great. But it's just like, just because we make you do it, and it's kind of a scary thing, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be comfortable with it. Because, like, it is, even though it's unfair that America forces you to buy a car and have this big object around and forces you to learn how to use it all the like, the person still dies if you hit them with the car. So you should, like, be good at using the car instead of bad at it. So you don't hit the person.
You should also be able to drive in an emergency, especially stick. But that's the last on this high horse. We will get off.
I mean,
we're an
I
anti-car podcast. We get it. But also, you should know how, just in case.
Please, for the love of God, if you're getting on the freeway in front of me, use the fucking pedal so I can merge. I'm so tired of being behind.
Bestie, let me merge.
A GV70 or whatever that I know has 380 horsepower, and they are doing 40 when they merge onto the freeway. And I'm like, there is a semi-truck bearing down on us doing 65. How is this safe? Use the pedal. Anyway, okay, I'm in a bad mood today. The more I hear about this shithole country, the more upset I get. And I've heard a lot about this shithole country today.
Get ready for more, because as Grandpa starts to let it go, he introduces Sean Duffy. But I didn't actually have time to look this up. He implies that he talks about Sean Duffy being a former champion logger, and that he used to climb up and down trees, and in Trump's word, broke his back several times.
Sean Duffy was a professional lumberjack.
Yeah, okay.
He won multiple titles in speed climbing in Hayward, Wisconsin's Lumberjack World Championship.
Okay, alright, I thought Grandpa was just fully fucking losing it, but...
I didn't know that was a thing. That would actually almost be cool if he wasn't such a piece of shit. And he wasn't responsible for the worst Acela livery ever created.
Yeah. In 1997, he appeared on The Real World Boston, graduated from St. Mary's.
Yeah, that was how he became famous.
With a degree.
Yeah, The Real World was how he became famous.
So he got a degree in marketing from a law school, and then was appointed Wisconsin as a district attorney. Qualified, normal guy.
Again, these are the kind of qualified white men that are the only ones who are allowed to lead anything in this country anymore. Remember?
Sean
Duffy,
so
he was a champion lumberjack.
Sean Duffy, former lumberjack, that implies Democrats didn't want to let the race happen. Probably referring to all of the either DC officials who were taking issue with, the logistics of a street race in a short amount of time. A thing that, like, there are a bunch of street races that were supposed to happen in other cities that just collapsed because actually, like, organizing a street race is a nightmare. There was the street race in Houston that doesn't exist anymore. There was the one in Boston that never even got to happen. Like,
Cleveland used to have a street, I'm using air quotes here, race at Burke Lakefront, which is an airport nobody uses except, like, Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
And they still don't even have that anymore.
Yeah. It's difficult to do. It's difficult to organize a race, even at the best of times, including in, 90 days. Sean Duffy just parrots things that his boss said, and then, while being slightly more personable, and then hands off to Roger Penske, who has Alex Palou wearing his OpenAI race suit, hand Trump a special race helmet. Non-political event, by the way. Not political at all.
I can't stand the whole, like, here's a gift for the leader as a token of our appreciation, like mafioso bullshit. It real like of all of the things that do consistent psychological damage to me, the normalization and like mainstreaming of just giving and taking small bribes is it really like I've never thought that like America was like, you know, shining city on the hill kind of thing. That's not really where I'm at, but it's just so fucking personally insulting as somebody who has always lived by like a very strict moral code about what I could and couldn't do, and, you know, really grappled a lot with serious questions about like working in this industry, taking flights from like these are things that I spent nights awake about, and this is just like cool now.
Yeah, and like I
Sorry,
feel
I'm
like
just
this
mad.
always happened, and like there was always the little like knickknacks, or like the president would give you a pen that he signed a bill with or whatever. But it's just like,
sure, but that's a different thing.
It's not we threw this race for you and you made an executive order so this race would happen. And also, it's like the IndyCar media personalities who are having to like bend over backwards to just say, no, we would have done this during any administration, where it's like plainly like, no. No, you wouldn't have. Or at the very least, it wouldn't have been like this in any other administration.
Yeah.
Bud Deckner gets called up. He accidentally calls Sean Duffy Pete Buttigieg, which is, again, maybe a thing that I'm like, were they trying to work with it? Like, obviously, the 250 celebration was in the works for a long time for a lot of it, because we as a country usually do things for the 50-year marks on the anniversary. Like, you know, our grandparents and parents all have a bunch of bicentennial, like, commemorative bullshit in their homes, at least if you are me. There's a lot of bicentennial shit in my grandparents' house. But, like, if they had tried to do a street race in DC, or, you know, probably Baltimore, somewhere close-ish, and call it I could see a version of this event happening under Biden, especially because Biden's like a real car guy, you know, like Biden at least was like, I have my Corvette that they tell me I can't drive anymore, but I still just kind of sleep in it sometimes when I like he's just touching his old Corvette, like just hoping that no one notices that he's like reaching for his own keys. But yeah, I there's going to be a really amazing postmortem on all of this eventually, and when people want to like break away from the Penske of it all, there will be a lot of juicy inside stories from IndyCar. But like,
please come on the show. I'd love to hear them.
This is why it's so embarrassing to have to cover IndyCar, or like wanting to cover IndyCar is like, the series isn't always like this, but the country kind of is always like this when it's like this. So, yeah, they end the press conference with doing a pit stop with a real IndyCar and the Penske pit crew with a special car wrapped for the event, like a show car. And then, yeah, they do a pit stop and a big burnout, and then there are 2 C8s on either side of the stage and everyone. And then I have to go, do I not want a C8 anymore? Did this make me cringe at the idea of being a C8 owner? Or now do I extra need to have, like, the wokest Corvette possible? Like, I don't know. This race...
I'm sorry, you can't make a woke C8.
Not with that attitude. We are. So I'm gonna, listeners, this will happen after this happens, but I'm going to I'm accredited media at an event this weekend. I am going to be in town for the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. So that will already happen by the time you're hearing this episode, but my thoughts will be on it next week. That's my first time being media at a race since transitioning, and it's not my first time at a race since transitioning. That happened so many years ago. But, like, I was thinking about who I was the last time I was at a media at a racetrack, and then I was just thinking about what the process of being even just at the 250, the Freedom 250 Grand Prix, is gonna be like. And I just kind of had to, you know, when a baby owl sleeps, because they kind of can't like stand up and sleep yet, they just lie completely face down on their face. I just kind of had to do that into a pillow for a little while, and just thinking about the psychic mind torment that is sure to await us at the National Mall this October. Oh, October?
Yeah.
August.
August.
Yeah. It's coming
August.
up real fast.
Yeah, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna do it. Because here's the thing, right? Is like there's a huge part of me that doesn't want to do this. I would actually go so far as to say it's all of me that doesn't want to do this.
You don't have
There's not
to.
even a huge
I
part.
at least yes,
No,
we do.
no,
You've
wait,
got the
here's
tickets,
the thing.
right? You've got the tickets.
I have the tickets, but also, more importantly, this could be the greatest bad time good journalism of my life. Because I really think that, like, if you look at everything I've ever written in my life, or if I look back at it, at least, a lot of the stories that are the most compelling to me are ones where I was genuinely in situations I did not enjoy.
Type B fun.
No, it's not even fun anymore. It's just bad. Like being threatened with the police in rural Montana, or like, you know, doing my van trip and having to drive my half-dead Hi-Ace with no alternator down a fucking canyon pass at midnight, desperately chasing down a Honda Pilot because its headlights still worked and mine didn't. You know, like, those kind of stories are, they're not good. They were not things that I would describe as fun. They aren't things that probably made me better, but they were so good for, like, writing a story. And I think that, like, from my perspective, if I could not go to this and turn it into a damning indictment of America as it sits, then I should quit writing. Like, this is a layup. And it's a layup about things that I care about. It's a layup about things that are very easy and spelled out. It is the entire, like, it is the death of, like, the simulation, the spectacle in front of our eyes. And it actually probably heralds one of the most interesting periods in, like, modern history for us as Americans, because, like, I think that the spectacle has been what has been keeping us satiated for decades. And its death means that there's just a big void that we could have something better.
We could also have something way worse, dog.
We could. Yeah. Don't worry about that. I listened to Stephen Miller talk today. I'm fully in the fucking bad vibe zone.
I think things are going to. I think we're going to have the worst thing that could happen is if it's a great event. You know,
it's not going to be. No.
But I was just like, is it going to feel like any other race? Because I mean, the best IndyCar race I ever covered was not even a real event, because Steph and I were at the Texas race that got rained out, which meant that we were just loose in the paddock live streaming for Jalopnik and just talking to anyone we could grab for about 2 hours, which was great.
I've been to the 500 recently enough that, like, that was, and I had enough fun at it. And I even, like, the thing about the 500 that's crazy is it's so good that it's like, I'm even willing to let go of the flag fucking they do at it. I'm like, you know what? You should get to fluck the flag this weekend. That's okay. I understand. This is actually such a good event, and it's so quintessentially American that I will let you do your jingoistic patriotic bullshit that normally makes me roll my eyes, because it's just so fucking good. Like, so, like, I'm fairly confident that it will not live up to the Indianapolis 500, the greatest event possibly put on in the entire world with cars.
Yeah, probably. It's gonna be a shit show. We will be there.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, we went long on these first two items.
Let's do.
All right, I'm gonna crank it up to notch 8 here.
We can also go long.
We have.
Fuck it.
Oh God, no! I don't want to make our listeners listen to us for 2.5 hours.
They want it so bad.
No,
they suck. They're incredible. I love them so much.
We're gonna crank up to notch 8 on the Century of Humiliation for a different country. It is the German Century of Humiliation. It's the Volkswagen Century of Humiliation. That's for sure.
They're not doing
so
great.
what's really happening? So what's really happening here is, and this is a very high level overview that I did as much research on to try to get a fair take on this, because trying to research the Chinese economy without being a massive xenophobe is like level hard for any kind of like Western journalist that doesn't speak Chinese. Trying to, because like there is a lot of, I would say, intentional lack of clarity, both in terms of like what is reported as official, what the actual situation on the ground is. A lot of that is mixed in with a heaping dose of xenophobia. So it's always like, well, is their economy actually slowing down, or are you just saying that because like you think their AI models could never compare to the superior Western Claude
Even
or
though
whatever?
they're using half the compute. And
Well, but like it's very. But I will say, China is like, their economy is slower than it has been.
Their economy's
while.
also pretty K-shaped right now.
The economy is quite K-shaped, and the market slowdown is really hitting German imports really hard, because like German cars in China have largely sold themselves on the basis of being internal combustion and luxurious, and Chinese buyers are largely not buying ICE cars as much, and also like Chinese brands are mature enough now that like the luxury thing doesn't quite play the same. Like, your heritage doesn't work if I can go buy a Neo Firefly for $10,000 and it like drives itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not quite the same.
And other people have discovered materials. You know, like the Germans can't float on reputation forever, which is like, I don't know, a thing that they've done for in like new markets for their entire lives. Yeah, like they've always been having to break into new markets and just say, we are here as VW. You know us, you know, the Beetle. Haha, it's us. And then that's been enough in the past.
Well, and like the thing that's worth noting is like, so Mercedes, BMW, VW, all reported sales drops of between 30 and 40% in China. Like this year versus last year. But the Chinese car market is down 24% in total. So like it's worse than the average, but it's not even that bad, relatively speaking. And part of that is also because, like, you know, China for the longest time was going to be like, we're going to sell infinity cars here, because you explain a billion people to a Western corporation and they're like, wow, that's infinity.
Yeah, that's
cool. We can just get growth forever. Finally, we'll prove that bastard Marx wrong this time. Infinite growth forever. Here we come. And then it turns out that,
it's
like,
the immortal science of Marxism Leninism here once again.
with a chair from the top rope.
Chairman Bernard Sanders music, and by that I mean he's a capitalist too, folks.
He sucks. I'm so fucking over him. I never want to talk
Boo,
about him
I like
ever
that
again.
old man.
Fucking
He's
stupid
fine.
ass. He got it so wrong on Graham Plattner. I'm done.
Every man got it wrong on Graham Plattner because they are stupid. Everyone's on Twitter. If you fell for the Graham Plattner thing, you must denazify your mind. You fell for Twitter.
Get off of X.com.
I don't care if it's where you get traction. If you get traction there, that's bad. You understand why that's bad, right? There's a reason there's not at Tran Girlismo on X. I thought about it. I went, do we need to? And then I thought about it for 30 seconds more. And then I was like, actually, I'll blow my brains out if I feel like I've got to do that.
Okay. Yeah, so, you know, so part of this is like Chinese demand for cars has matured. Like, their market has matured. They don't have as many people who are like, oh, I need a new car, because they've already bought new cars. Because they've like industrialized at a rate that like was very fast, provided a cash cow for a lot of Western automakers for a while. That's probably over. Their economy is also pretty slow because they do have the thing where like normal people are doing pretty badly, and it's basically AI spending that's floating the entire economy, and that's making it look like they're doing okay, which is the same thing that everybody in the West is doing now too.
I think that they have like a very healthy used market now, which is because the people who have stopped, they
bought all the cars and now they can sell them.
That churn is when you're selling only new cars because everyone just needs a new car. Great.
Yeah. And also, like, they're Chinese buyers, when they are buying cars now, they're buying domestic EVs and not imported ICE cars because, like, they're really good and really cheap. And they can be used in more places, and they have an actual charging infrastructure there. And, like, Volkswagen is mostly selling ICE cars in China because again, apologies to our one listener with a ID4, but, like, have you driven a Volkswagen EV product? Those are not Chinese parody vehicles.
The only one that is
Those
is
are
like
that would get stomped by the entire market there. i7 maybe.
I was gonna say it's like the Taycan, the e-tron. Like you have to get into
Sure.
like the very
Crazy
nice
luxury.
Ones, yeah.
i7 I also really love. But anyway, so with this as the background, VW's profit has fallen precipitously basically every year. They made over 20 billion euros in 2023. They made just 8.9 billion.
Oh my god.
Year.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
They've been losing. Yeah.
That's way worse than I thought. Okay. Yeah.
This is mostly because, like, I mean, their sales are down everywhere, but again, the Chinese market was where they were making the bulk of their money, and that is now gone. Not entirely, but it's evaporating very rapidly. Q2 sales are down 8.6 year over year, also, so they're just getting their shit kicked in globally. So the company announced that they would be cutting 50% of their models on sale and reducing the amount of available options by up to 75%.
They're the options company. That's what's crazy to me is they're the options company. Well, okay, I'm having to assume that like that is only for like your anything not an Audi and above, like right.
So the thing that's confusing, right, is like I'm pulling this from I should say Quartz from an article by Colleen Kabili, which like mentions the restructuring plan, and I know for a fact that they are going to, and this was later in the notes, so I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but they were going to close down 4 plants, one of which is an Audi plant. So I think it may be like Volkswagen Audi. I don't think it applies to Porsche.
No,
right?
Yeah, or Lambo. I know that they were floating selling Lamborghini, but Lamborghini makes so much fucking money that I think that's genuinely insane. Because you know what's doing super good? Because K-shaped economy? Lamborghini.
Yeah. The thing that's funny about this to me, right, is that like ever since I was, I don't know, a little girl, I remember being just a little girl growing up in small town Ohio, and every 5 years I would see whoever was currently the CEO of the Volkswagen Auto Group say, we're going to be the largest car maker in the whole world. And they would always be like Charlie Brown with the football, just getting yanked away at the last second as they chase after Toyota. Now it's BYD. Yeah. And like, this has been their goal for their entire lifetime. It's why like, it's what for my entire lifetime. It's why the Jetta sucks. It's why the Passat sucks. It's why they like, it's seriously, because like these like mass market ambitions absolutely cut into their like we make nice cars thing. And so like it's funny because there's going to be an entire generation of people who listen to this show who probably don't even know that Volkswagens used to be nice inside. Like a Jetta used to be like a nicer version that you would kind of treat yourself to between getting like a Civic or a Corolla, like a Japanese import, but wasn't as expensive as going all the way up to like a 3 Series. Yeah. Or like a C-Class. It was genuinely supposed to be like a mid-grade German option that felt nicer than any of the Japanese imports. Like that is what a Jetta was in my mind, or a Passat, or like, and as they shifted to volume, they were like, yeah. As they shifted to volume, they were like, actually, fuck that, and we'll just make the Jetta worse than the Civic, for example. Bert, what's up?
Wow, Bert's got VW opinions.
Bert, what do you think of the Volkswagen restructuring plan? Come on, buddy. Meow into the mic. No? Okay.
He's not going to perform for you like some sort of seal, Victoria.
So this is kind of interesting to me because this is just admitting like we're not going to do it. Because they had been building 12 million cars a year up to 2020. And now they are targeting cutbacks of production capacity to 9 million. Which is like, that's just give it up.
It's so crazy watching all of these legacy automakers that have just been growing. Even if not like continuously, like it feels like they are dealing with the first of many contractions they will have. Because I kind of always assumed that these Germans would stay on the forefront of the industry in a way where it just, I have been proven so wrong. Like, and it's probably because they lost China. And China made they did the planned economy thing, and they planned to be like, hey, we should actually get really good at building our own cars, right? And they did very quickly, like a decade. It took 10 years.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, cool. So that was your growth for the next 50 to 60. That was it. So you've got Europe and the US now. Let me take a big sip of my coffee and find out about what this Donald Trump fellow wants to do. Ah, fuck. Oh, God. And now it's just like, oh, yeah.
Tariffs are hurting them.
Well, tariffs hurting everyone.
Well, and actually, like, Oliver Bloom, Volkswagen CEO, said in a statement, again, I'm pulling this from the Quartz article, geopolitical tensions, high costs, including those caused by tariffs, increasing regulation, and ever more intense global competition are increasing the pressure on the entire automotive industry. That is why we're acting now. Which, yeah, man, although the increasing regulation is like, we're still mad about
he said as he loads a single round into his revolver, raises it towards his chin tearfully.
So this is where it gets intense. This is where it becomes the century of humiliation for Volkswagen. It also has, like, genuine geopolitical outcomes, because Volkswagen's initial plan that they announced a while ago, and they have somehow got their unions to agree to, was that they were going to fire 50,000 people. They are now saying that they are going to need to fire 100,000 people, which is like a significant percentage of the German economy and like Volkswagen's capacity. And of course, like, the unions had already made the concessions to lose 50,000 employees by 2030, and they were going to close 4 German plants, which, for the first time since the company started 87 years ago in 1939, which I'm assuming that wherever I got that stat from wasn't counting whichever ones we blew up.
I think that's under force majeure, and I don't know if that counts. Because I assume they tried to immediately start rebuilding those factories, so closure was not
probably.
That or they were
does it count as
tanks?
Does it count as a closure? Does it count as a closure if all of your slave labor escapes or is liberated? But the thing is like, the entire just German economy is kind of doing really badly from a manufacturing perspective, because the other half of this, beyond just the Chinese, sort of like supply or the Chinese demand implosion, is the Russian gas supply implosion.
Yeah.
Which is that basically Germany used entirely Russian supplied gas for decades that was stupidly cheap and basically infinite. And now they've been cut off of it for the past 4 years since Russia invaded Ukraine. And their entire auto industry, all of their manufacturing is just spiraling because their input costs are up massively. Yeah. Because they also took all their fucking nuclear offline, because German... Oh my god, I need European fucking environmentalists to not lose sight of the ball a little more often, because they're like, oh, we have to shut down all these dirty nuclear plants that create all this waste. Let's go back to open pit coal mining for the worst, dirtiest coal in the world.
Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island and Fukushima scared the shit out of people. And I understand that radiation is a scary concept because it does just kill you dead invisibly. But you know what else does?
Yeah.
Smog. And that's not even invisible. Yeah, that's in fact quite visible.
Yeah, you can't see out your window, and I had lightning strike 10 feet from my apartment today. We've destroyed the entire Earth in pursuit of these safer methods of energy generation. It doesn't matter now because we have solar, and so like nuclear, theoretically, in a world where we did things rationally, would never really be on the table again, because we just coat every surface we have in solar panels, and then generate enough energy that it became a non-issue.
Batteries, baby, it's that Onion article. Shit's ready to go whenever. We've got solved problems. We're fine, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, so they have to. So they basically have an energy crunch, and it turns out making cars and steel is a very energy intensive process. So the other half of the problem, of course, is that you need to build good cars, which foreign concept for Volkswagen, obviously. Who hasn't made anything I really liked since about 2012. The recession just, it's honestly weird because I go back to like, what cars do I really like a lot? And it's like every manufacturer I feel like that was doing cool, weird shit just stopped doing it entirely after the Great Recession. Subaru is up there. Volkswagen's up there. Honda, of course, continues to do no wrong, although the prologue is dead. Just, I didn't even put it in the notes, but like called shot alert. Guess who saw that coming? I mean, everybody. It's not even like I could be like, wow, my gift of foresight. It was obviously going to die, but like prologue's dead. Who knows how long they'll be around for.
It really feels, especially like more and more, it feels like simultaneously the retreat away from EVs is them trying to face business realities, but in doing so, they are just cutting off their nose to spite their face, because it just feels like like maybe short-term financial relief for long-term doom, and that is what shareholders. Yeah, that's actually what shareholders love.
Jordan, do you ever feel like you live in the ruins of a once great civilization
which
all of the wheels of fate were set spinning long before your birth, and all we could do is watch as they horribly grind to a halt?
Yeah, and also it does feel that like it feels like I am one of 5 people who can see 5 feet in front of my eyes anymore. Like, right? Like there is a level of short-sightedness which, macroeconomics loves to exist in, despite allegedly being a very legitimate field of study. I just I don't see, none of this had to happen. Like, obviously VW was not going to keep expanding forever, but I think they could have seen the winds a changing a little bit earlier. I don't know. It's like, 10 years ago, when the Chinese economy was like told, hey, here's a bunch of state money, everyone start going making good EVs. If I'm a German legacy automaker, how do I not see them getting good at it quite quickly? Like, I don't know. That seems like a no-brainer.
Didn't the Model X debut in 2016?
The Model X?
The Model 3 came out in 2017.
I think the X is 14
which is like,
or 15.
It wasn't like you had to... The thing that's funny about this, right, is like, you don't need to have been like a brilliant, sort of future seer to have realized that, like, hey, maybe we should get in on this. Perhaps we should, kind of plan, I don't know. The other thing too is like, you can't plan at that scale and keep shareholders happy, because they will just vote you out, because capitalism is a death cult and you have to just make as much money as possible 20 minutes ago.
That's right.
The future be damned. So, I mean, once again, just become a communist now, because it's just going to get worse. There you go. At least you will be sad all the time, but at least you will understand what is going on.
You're going to be right. I will.
Yeah, which God knows I love.
Everyone
trying to be the most correct person in the death camp.
Crab bucket. Speaking of crab buckets, the Nissan Altima is being torn apart by the crabs in the bucket, and the crab is named for the Nissan Sentra.
Well, maybe, because like I put this in the notes because like Pans Pentecuthera, who is the head U.S. product officer for Nissan, had an interview with Ward's Auto where he was like, the Altima's going away because the Sentra is now a big girl and can fill its role, which is a weird way to say the Sentra is too big now, but whatever. And there was going to be an EV sedan to replace it, but Nissan says the volume isn't there yet, so they're just delaying it.
Every other car is a Model 3. What are you fucking talking about?
I know. But then, like, 20 minutes before we went to record, Jordan was like, check out Motor 1. And Nissan called them up over there and was like, we are not discontinuing the Altima. That's a lie.
Keeping it going.
Our own product officer was lying.
Which is very Nissan. It's very Nissan
Yes.
for no one to know,
One more year.
not know what's going on.
Yeah, it's also very Nissan to be like, hey, this car that's 8 years old, dust it off, like throw like an extra badge on the back.
They made the first
And we could probably
Maserati
get another year out
Gran
of that.
Turismo for like 18 years or something. So like,
Yeah, but like I'm just thinking GTR.
oh yeah,
Like,
we could keep it
they
going
got-
for 20 years.
They got like
Yeah.
3 model years out of that. They got 3 different like revisions out of one generation of car, basically. Bank run on Ultimas. Go buy an Ultima right now.
What the fuck's wrong with? Don't go. I mean, I know, but
Don't.
like we're doing a bit. But also, hey, don't go buy an Ultima. Just don't.
They're not great. There are better. Notably, like you should get a Kia. I think if you're gonna go for like a sedan that's gas, like the Kia's
The
like,
Kia
nicer.
K4 is a little weird looking, but also it's pretty alright.
Yeah, Ultima's still a little bit bigger, but like, yeah, I
Is
there's
the
I
Ultima
don't
bigger? 'Cause
like.
the K4 looks huge.
That's fair. I don't know.
The K4
Car
is
size is
so
real.
long.
The Sentra's the size of a fucking. My dad had a Nissan Altima. It was like a '97 when I was a kid, and it was like a really tiny, small car. And I remember seeing an Altima for the first time like 10 years later, and I was like, "What the fuck? It's the size of a
Are
tank."
they still making the Maxima?
The '97 Altima. No, that's been dead. Which kind of sucks. Those were actually
Yeah,
kind of
my
cool.
dad. I was about to say because my dad was a Maxima guy for a while.
See, this is the wealth disparity between our upbringings. Your dad was a Maxima guy. My dad could only
Well,
swing an Altima.
it was a very used Maxima, sweet girl. It was not a. It was a. Fourth? No, it was a 5th generation Maxima. Yeah, that looks like my dad's coming to pick me up. Oh wow, it's a VQ engine. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what every single Nissan product from like 2000 to 2024 was. The new Z is basically the first time they broke out a new motor in like several decades. And then they decided not to make any anyway, so you know.
Damn.
Anyway, bank run on Ultimas. Go buy your Ultimas now. Or don't. I mean, like, they're fine. I don't think you should buy a Nissan product in like 2026. That's probably
I don't.
a good idea. That's like buying a Mitsubishi now, you know? It's kind of like they once made good stuff, but like their main role now is to have like very, very unscrupulous dealers and to sell you used fleet cars because you're poor, which I understand completely, but like you can do better.
Yeah. Huh.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, the Maxima died in 2020. Fascinating.
Yeah. COVID?
Vaxxed? Shout out Lindsey Graham, by the way. What the fuck?
I did actually turn and say that to my wife when she told me he was dead. Oh yeah, that felt great. Like the little microdose of joy I got from Lindsey Graham eating it, who is like a minor villain of our era at best. Like a completely spineless toad. Absolutely venal and disgusting as a human being. And you know would never saw a person he wouldn't sell out, but like still overall like he's not like the worst power player right now, right? I mean, like Mitch McConnell, who is still alive somehow at the time of recording this, is like probably objectively had more harm, but like I was still so happy that I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be drunk for a week straight when it happens.
I don't. Obviously, the man was a great political villain and a nightmare and a warmonger and wanted us to invade Cuba and was and Iran. He was
got his wish before he died.
It, but like it's the George Santos rule of at least you're gay and funny to talk about. Like I thought about the picture of him earlier this year, or maybe it was last year, where he was at Disneyland looking visibly drunk with the Ariel from the Little Mermaid bubble wand, and I'm just like, that's just some old queen. That's just some old queen.
It's why would you be like? Yeah, I just no. I'm so glad he's dead.
Evil gay people still evil, but so funnier.
Yeah, they're funnier in life. Still glad they're dead. If you're gay, don't be evil.
Don't be evil.
Anyway, on the note of being gay and not being evil, I have one other thing that I wanted to address before we wrap up this show.
You got good news. To end on, we've got good fucking news for once, folks.
Yeah, so obviously, when we announced this podcast, we said occasionally it would be about photography when we felt like making it about photography. So I have a small celebration, which is that my next book is shot. Special thank you to Red from Berlin for painstakingly connecting 25 individual rolls of film to run through his machine at his work and scanning all of them for me, because it would have been impossible otherwise. Because it's all E6, and it would have cost me roughly the GDP of a small country to develop all those at a normal store. Not to mention, if I had scanned them myself, I would have died of exposure while operating the plus type. So I got back a Google Drive with 901 slide film shots in it. Like this past weekend, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, they're actually pretty good. I did still have a 2-day long panic attack about like the photos.
Of course you did.
And the subsequent loss of will to live, because I shot this with the Nikon F6 that a friend of the show, Taco Food Truck, gave me, that I mentioned a while ago. And it's my first time shooting with an F6. I didn't develop basically anything I shot on it other than like 2 test rolls to make sure I got it. It worked. And it did work, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to save all these so I can send them in one big batch to Red so that he can develop them all at once. And the F6 has a date back. A date back is a special kind of like information storing back panel of the camera that has LEDs in it, so that you can, when you if you set the date, it will show the date in the frame, like on an old school camera. The F6 is just a very fancy version of this. I had fucked around with the back because I was trying to nail down my strobe lighting, because I was doing slide film with multiple strobes, and I kept messing it up because it's fucking hard.
Slide film don't want
and so I did
anything other than perfect conditions.
So I did a test roll, and I turned on the date back so I could see the settings of the lens and exposure and like exactly what the metering was on it, and I nailed it in. And then I thought I turned it off, and I turned it on more. And by turning it on more, then I shot 20-something rolls more that all had like the wrong date on the back of it. And so I was like, well, this ruins the whole project irreparably, because I don't want to edit the photos and clone out the stamp, because I want the slides that people get with the copy of the book to exactly match what is printed on the page. So I'm doing color editing to make sure it prints right, but I am not doing anything remotely like cloning anything out or cropping. So every single picture has to be completely flawless, basically. And so I just crashed out insanely hard. I mean, I was also tired, and I've been kind of depressed because, And you're quitting smoking. I crashed out.
That to me is the big why I had to tell you what I'll read you for filth by reading our actual text messages.
But also
I said I like the stamp. Ma'am, are you self-doubting if you're good at photography? Victoria, how many books of photography have you published? To which then you said, this'll be my 3rd. And then I said, they don't let bad photographers have multiple books.
Okay, but you gotta understand, the process of making art for me is you get an idea, and the idea destroys you, and you simply are like, well, nobody else is going to do this because it'd be a ton of work, and also, it's my idea, and it's like, even if somebody else could do it, it requires an insane amount of devotion, and, you gotta just make it, so you go insane, and then you just kind of, you do, a cyclical sort of sine wave kind of crash-out cycle, where you're like, we're so back, it's so over, we're so back, it's so over, and you amplify that process until you're doing 10 shoots in a week, which is something I don't think I did 10 in a week. I did 10 in 11 days or something. I did an absurd number of shoots with lights and strobes and shit. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then you do where it's so over phase, where it's you get as close to, you go to Subway, right? You go to Subway and you have a foot long spicy Italian on cake white bread, and you think about the decisions you have made in your life to end up here feeling this bad yet fucking again. And then you get a book with your name on it, and you hold it and you look at it and you're like, damn, that's pretty cool. And then you launch it, and then you got to go through the cycle a few more times. And then ideally, like last time I did this, the post-launch, I mean there were a lot of things going on in my life, but like this is all was contributing factors to like going to get grippy socked, right? So like this time I'm trying to keep the amplitude like lower. I'm trying to make it a smaller sine wave. So it's like the peak is like, oh, I feel pretty good about myself, and the trough is like Subway sandwich instead of grippy socks.
I really, really like this new scale of it's Shape's place being you're just annoyed and you just need to stop thinking for a second. It's Subway, which is I've been thinking about killing myself, and then Grippy Sock is I got a plan together. Grippy Sock is they actually thought I was gonna do it this time.
Grippy Sock is when you talk to the person at the ER and they're like, have you had any like ideas? And you're like, well, nothing but, and then you explain it and they're like, they look at you with like pure horror and you're like, oh shit, that was probably too detailed, wasn't it?
You can't describe how you've been thinking to John Wick yourself with like objects around the room to get out of this. Like, yeah,
with a pencil. Yeah. So I'm just trying to. I think the thing is like feeling bad is an important part of my artistic process. I don't think it's necessary for most people, but I don't know how to do it otherwise. I just have to feel like shit about myself and everything I've ever done, or otherwise there's not enough of me in it. You know what I mean? It has to be every piece of art I have ever made that meant anything to me, I throw myself into like it is the last thing I will ever get to make, and it will be the only cultural impact I have. Which I think is part of the reason why like my stuff is the way it is, but also like it's kind of emotionally taxing. But the pictures are good, so it's fine.
And I hope that this is maybe the outlet for you that is the most good and the least bad. Because not to tip the cards a little bit much, but like this is quite easy. This is a good thing that we do. This is a show that takes both a lot of the podcast. This takes a lot of effort, but also it's always good. You know?
Yeah, it's pretty. This is pretty low stress, relatively speaking.
People
just seem
to like it, and we do good. And yeah, I have seen some previews of some stuff that you shot for the book, and I am so very excited to see what the finished selection looks like, and I know that it is going to come together beautifully because it is such a beautiful, wonderful idea. And not to jack you off too much, I think that this is, I don't know, going to the Chicago Leather Archives, going to the Warhol, going to the Black Photojournalism exhibit at the Carnegie here. I think about how much minority culture, especially in moments of struggle, the story is only really told and preserved, especially the quiet little moments of joy and contemplation and everything. Those are only things that we are able to do ourselves because no one else is there. And I think Pollination is just such a beautiful encapsulation of that. And I think it is,
Thank you.
Of course, I think it is going to be important, just like We Deserve This was important to me and a bunch of other people. So I'm
hopeful. I appreciate it. I the thing is like I would be lying if I said I wasn't trying to accomplish something like that, because that's the only way that I would go through all this effort. I mean, like I am not going to work on something this exhausting with probably, I mean, like a lot of people helped, so I'm not going to be out like tons of money, thank God, because I didn't have that. But like, it's not, making queer photo books is not like a super profitable venture. It's just like, I think it's important enough that it has to exist, but that also does mean that I get so into it because I deem it so important that then I get kind of insane. But I will say this, like, there's a bunch of, like, multi-strobe shots taken in dark rooms on slide film that's perfectly exposed. And I did want to kind of prove to everybody in the whole world that, you know, this will be something that nobody in, like, a position of power or a gallery will appreciate until after I'm dead, I'm sure, because that's just how this shit works. But, like, I did not get an MFA, but I am I am that bitch. I can do this.
You were both.
You have to value my technical skill in addition to what I am saying.
You were both technically on it and artistically on it, which is, I think this is why photography is the motorsports of art to me, you know? Like, not only do you have to be, like, you've got to have, like, the heart and the vision, but also, like, you must have an amount of, like, technical literacy for it as well, which is why I appreciate it, even when I have, like, I don't know, exposed the same frame 36 times because a thing fell out of a take-up spool, you know?
No, I get it. That's part of what happens. And I mean, like, I just think that, like, it's good. I'm excited to see it, but I did still have to have the crash out, obviously, because it's just like, you know, I was probably going to crash out.
I love you dearly. It's part of the Victoria Scott experience. It brings me no pleasure to report that, but that is part of the Victoria Scott experience. As long as I have known and experienced Victoria Scott, is every now and then it involves me going,
honestly.
Hey, so yes, you're feeling like that, but when you look at, let's just call it objective reality, that's maybe it's not that. Like, when I have to be like, hey, so these weren't like photo books you self-published, that like someone else made that, like someone else did that, like someone co-signed it.
No,
they're very real books. They're very published. Real, very published books, and they don't let bad photographers have those. I know. I don't have one. I do have. I am sharing a gallery just myself with a friend later this year, which that's scary. But
yeah, see.
It'll get me to develop my backlog of film, which I'm going to add to this weekend.
Yeah, cool.
Victoria, is that a podcast?
Cool. It's a podcast for sure.
Yeah, let me just burp right through that. Do you want to get our Patreon names up, as we once again have done a fucking 2-hour episode?
God damn it, we keep doing this, don't
90 minutes is tough because, well, okay. There were two things that struck me like lightning today, which were finally looking at the Trump press conference for the race, a thing which, like, you know, I'm glad I ended up looking at, but I was probably correct to not do it earlier in the week. Otherwise, I think I would have.
And obviously
the Chudnought.
And I had already written the Volkswagen Realpolitik thing, so, you know. We were just kind of screwed.
I don't think the Maserati thing is interesting enough to actually be a podcast topic that sustains anything. Also, F1 and WEC are about to... Yeah, Stellantis breathing a sigh of relief that that's how you know the Stellantis horse is dead, is I'm getting tired of beating it. I don't know how much more blood I can get from that stone right now. Other than, boy howdy, GT4 racing is, there must be so much money in there if Maserati's doing it, you know? God, what do we have? Bullet episodes on the Patreon. We will.
Yes, I'm going to put up the please ask us questions. We are going to do a reader questions episode for this month's bonus because a lot of people really wanted that again, and then we will return to movies next month.
I think the two movies, and then do the. I think the listener questions once a quarter is probably the correct pace.
Yeah, you know, you get to feel like you can ask us stuff. But also at the same time, you know, we don't have to. If you're just listening for like one question or whatever, you don't have to listen to a ton of episodes like that. My wife is making strange noises behind me. Anyway, I have to speak of Patreon. We have a special segment of this show where I read out a thank you to all of our $15 and up subscribers for helping support us and helping pay my rent. So, we deeply appreciate you, and a special thank you to Courtney Shale, EMC, Naomi, Princess of Midship Runabouts, Titania Bird Kyle, Clocky Galadriel, Athena V. Candy Fox. Haley Pup, awoo. Transbike. The suspiciously woman-shaped pharmacist. Nick the Kiwi. I drive Rivians for Amazon, and all I got is this stupid piss bottle. Railsmith. Bang! This has been a test of Princess Reese. David Bolin. Stellantis-hating union member. Hazelbutt. Blue Screwy. Trans woman Kaiba. Broke two arms riding motorcycles time for a Miata.
Trans
What's up?
Kaiba's really funny.
Oh, I don't
Kaiba. Yu-Gi-Oh,
Yeah.
my dear girl. That was, you were in the vault and you probably weren't allowed to have Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
I was definitely not allowed to have Yu-Gi-Oh. That was definitely
to be
satanic.
fair, you are summoning monsters, so like, look, that one I get a little bit. There's a pentagram-esque thing. Like, I get it. Christian parents, I get that one. That one. Pokemon, that's deranged. They're little creatures. But
I wasn't allowed to have that either. Thank you to Ronan C. Ty. Papa Shitty Cams. Samantha. Ellie O'Dare. Smokestack. The Return of Kyler, Pana's AIV stunt driver. Pittsburgh T-Girl Baseball, July 25th, 4 p.m. at Bloomfield Park. Ashlyn needs $40,000 for a brand new MX-5 hardtop. You and me both. Adam Mancuso. That charming way Jordan says, uh-huh. That's really sweet.
Oh no, someone pointing out my
thank
own fucking ticks and shit to me.
Thank you to Studio Nixie, drone photography. Not that kind. We still don't know which kind you mean, but you know. Totally not Saudi oil bribe money. Alex K. Cameron Shaft. JD Santos. Bitwise. Jeremy Tanner. Waiting on Back to the Future trilogy bonuses in the distant future. Panther Body Pillow Princess. Deluxe. Katrania. Cassie hit its head on a running board. Oh. Sloppy Head Enjoyer. Flying Friend Jack. The People's Pillow Princess. Should I put a V10 in my E46? How much money do you have?
You're both making your... The E60 was already
How
unreliable.
much money do you have?
I drove an E60 with a stick a bunch of years ago. Beautiful, beautiful time. What a money pit. What a money pit.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. How much money do you have? Thank you to Bean, Bree Henry, Sable, James Gilbreth, Charlie Stengel. Second page is loading. Come on, Patreon. Jesus Christ. Slate, the engineer's shitbox. Theodora Constantine, John V, Buick, Adam Shepard, Stephen Duckworth, Phelan, Mildly Perturbed, Hannah W, Asherin, Chris Hepner, Jerry at homogameragenda.com has a 2023 Subaru Outback for sale in Guadalajara.
Holy shit.
We'll deliver. If we have Mexican listeners and you want to go get a Subaru Outback, like, there you go. Dexus. Tara Hailstorm is trying not to parasocialize with y'all and failing. Yeah, if you just post funny enough, it's not parasocial, it's just hanging out.
I was about to say, I was just like, I don't have a physical day job where you could come and be weird to me anymore, so, like, it's fine. If you're riffing on Blue Sky with us, that's normal, actually.
Will. Naomi Martin. Steph Schrader. Princess Reese got the word puppy-brained entered into an official training record. That's pretty good, actually. I like that. Leet Wolf Girls. Emma. Kodak. We need to talk about the misprint in your E6 developer instructions. I know where that story comes from, and it was heartbreaking. You ever just ruined $120 worth of Velvia because they fucked up their like $400 E6 kit for Jobos? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you to Shoddily Painted Orcs. New Hampshire Trans Social. Sorry. New Hampshire Trans Social. August 4th at 7 p.m. at the Hop Knot in Manchester. Jet fuel can't melt these dreams. Nathaniel Hubble. 10s to 46. Saturday's Claire. Wingsmith will trade her eternal soul for a set of lightly used billet titanium Soviet moon rover wheels. Penile sparing vaginoplasty available now. Nick Carlos Ghosn 2028 Bombowski. Carlos Ghosn come on the show.
Sure, we could do worse. That's fine.
DJM. She must be from massive, huge tits the way she Nantuckets her Moby Dick. I'm gonna let you exhale at that one. Sylvia, Finn Springs. S. Marchin Porpfish Fit Rarnden. That's okay. Look, you can't Fitarnden. I guess Fitarnden. Okay. S. Marchin Porpsh Fitarnden is here with the delivery of bronze ingots. Bronze ingots. Yeah. Bronze.
That was a very good. Well, there's a problem. I finally had 4.5 hours or whatever to sit and watch it the other night.
Julie Aguilar, Team Radar Love, RC Duke, Chaz, Crystal Storm, Fisker, I hardly know her, JWR, Justin Ryan, Sable Pausch, Dorley Hall's Tame Racing Driver, Josh J, and Selectric.
Oh.
Thank you all. We really appreciate you. We hope you enjoy the episode. And we'll have reader questions open for
someone might have already changed their
everybody.
name, but on the Patreon back end, there was someone whose $15 a month, or I think even $20 a month tier name was giving you all more money than Matt Farah on principle, which is, gonna be honest, I laughed really hard when I saw that.
I have to see that because I just have the $15 tier. There must be.
I think
weird.
if you
I
pledge
don't know
more,
how that.
then you don't. Yeah.
No, it's there's like there. I don't know. I will. Okay, I promise you. If you don't,
yeah, if you've not been hearing your name and you do give us that amount of money, just let us know, because then we could. Yeah, we could.
Please
obviously,
tell me,
we'll,
and I will
we'll
fix
figure
the
it out.
filter.
Yeah. It's Patreon backend stuff. Don't you worry about it, kittens.
Yeah. We will fix that. I was just doing my best here, but yeah. No,
we definitely appreciate all of you so much. You are keeping both of us alive. Me alive.
I even got to buy. I went to Winco and I even bought a Lucid Air Hot Wheels because I was like, it'll be nice to have a memento.
Yeah, that bankruptcy is not. When they're hiring an outside consulting firm, that's at. We'll do it next week. We'll do it next week. I have so many thoughts about the Lucid thing that's going in next week's show notes because I didn't have enough time to do research. But yes, no, that's understandable.
I have thoughts.
In which case, we'll save it for next week. However, I have one thing to plug on behalf of our editor, Alex. Alex.
Oh yeah. Oh, we should have put it in before.
Alex and a couple of her friends all participated in I believe it was a Toxic Yuri themed visual novel jam, which is very cool. And you could go play White Line Nightmare, which is talked about internet nightmare U-Haul lesbians locked in a hatchbacks for 8 hours across middle America, which is a Toxic Yuri visual novel that you can get on harmful-park.itch.io/white-line-nightmare.
I'm going to put a link in the description.
I have not gotten a chance to check it out yet, but Toxic Yuri visual novel jam. Girls, please let me work with you next year. Come on, I need to. I have demons I must exercise.
Yeah, I remember that period of our lives before we were in like stable marriages with loving wives.
Oh my god, yeah.
There was some fucked up shit that happened back then.
I still want a General Motors product after what one of their employees did to me. That's a podcast.
See you all next week. Bye.